destruction. Outside the ark, everything's dying, while everything in the ark was living. Jesus is the source of life. All those who are alive, those are the ones that are in Christ. God's provision. Also note that the ark was not Noah's idea, it was God's. God even gave him the measurements he needed and what kind of wood to use in Genesis 6:14 through 16. So Noah's deliverance from the flood was in no way credited to him, but it was credited to God. Mind you, God himself even shut him in. Likewise, our salvation is not credited to anything that we did, but to God who gave his only begotten Son for us all. He is the only means by which life can be obtained. This indeed is a very encouraging thought to know, that those who in Christ will not perish. Now, one other thing to take note of here, when speaking of Noah's account, there's a response required on Noah's part. God told him what to build, he told him how to build it, but in the end, it was Noah that had to build the ark. God tells Noah, build an ark. He tells us, believe in my Son. A response is required on our part as well. Noah had the knowledge to build the ark, but until he built it, he couldn't really be saved by it. God's provided Jesus, but until you believe, you can't be saved. So God has spoken to us, and we have responded by believing. However, even God is glorified on this behalf as well. The scriptures speak of us being given to us to believe. In Philippians 1:29, Noah would not have been able to build anything had God not provided the means for him to do so, like wood, measurements, instructions as to how to assemble it. Likewise, we can reason the same way concerning us being able to believe. We really do believe, but God provided the means for us to believe. You can take faith, opening your heart, having his message declared unto you. So, God is truly glorified in all of these things. Now, also remember, it says that not only will you not perish, you have everlasting life. Now, also remember that Noah, when the ark finally landed, it hit the top of a mountain. And only the tops of mountains could be seen, it said, when he hit. That's Genesis 8:4 and 5. Jesus will keep you safe from destruction until the very end. And when we are finally passed through the world, we will, like Noah, be in a higher place. Or the mountain is the mountaintop. It's the highest possible place you could be in. So once we're at that place, you're freed from all the hardships of the world, no longer having to suffer in it. Because after the floods lowered after everything was destroyed. And then when those who have survived a flood, they're at the highest place. So with that being said, I want to draw your attention now to some new covenant writings concerning this. I want to continue to show you how this is sure to come by showing the apostles' words on this as well. Now, we just compared Noah and the flood to salvation, but let us see how Christ and the apostles described this great deliverance. This ought to provoke some anticipation and joy in your hearts. This is the words of Jesus, Mark 13:25 through 27. And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. Then shall he send his angels, and shall gather his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost parts of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. 1 Thessalonians 4:16-17, this is Paul. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first, and we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, to meet the Lord in the air. So shall we ever be with the Lord. Peter spoke on this, 2 Peter 3:13-14. Nevertheless, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent that you may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. Now, who are the elect? Those who are ever be with the Lord? Those who look for a new heavens and a new earth, they are the ones who believe. The elect are going to believe. God's going to take to himself those who have received him, those who believe in him, those who love him. You can't do any of those things unless you believe. And you can't look for a new heavens and a new earth unless you believe they exist. So you can see how believing plays a great role in this. When we believe in Christ, we no longer have to think of his coming as a thing to be feared, but anticipated. Now when we think of that great day, we are filled with joy, because we do not have to live in fear of eternal separation. Rather, we can be glad in knowing that we will forever be with the Lord. Now, again, I want to emphasize this applies to those who believe. As we have seen, this is not partial belief, small belief. It's a full persuasion of faith that we speak of. Brethren, what I encourage you to do is to keep believing. Salvation is not a one-time thing. Once Jesus died, that wasn't it. You're continually saved throughout the earth, and then you'll be finally saved on the day of judgment, the day when Jesus comes back again. So until then, you're being preserved until that day. To continue to be preserved, you have to continue to believe.
Right.
Continue to believe in Christ, that the Father will find you acceptable and blameless when he comes to judge the earth. I want to close by reading two texts. This is John 5, verse 24. It says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me has everlasting life,
Yeah.
and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Is passed, not will be, is passed. Immediate transition takes place. This is in John 11:26. It says, And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this?